Hello, I'm Aubrey, and I challenged myself to see how quickly I could befriend Caroline and make it into her tea room to unlock those lucrative tea saplings for some cheeky early game profits. As you may have seen from the title of this video, I made it to Caroline's sunroom on the morning of day 6, not even a full week in Stardew Valley. Not only that, I acquired enough sprinklers to cover 40 crops on day 7. This felt like a 1 in a million run for me, but was only my second attempt at quick Caroline befriending. Here is how I made it to Caroline's tea room on day 6. I have to admit, I have a crush philosophy for my daily dues that I will be using to reach 2 hearts or 500 points of friendship with Caroline to make it into her tea room. My first and most important daily task is to converse with Caroline. Any day I can, I will be talking to Caroline, making sure she is not in the middle of an action so I can receive the full 20 points that day. Second, I'll review the request board. Any NPC you know has a chance of posting a request on the board outside of Pierre's shop that, upon completion, grants you 150 friendship points with the poster. That's over half a heart. This is probably a good time to mention my only daily don't, and that is, don't talk to anyone else until I reach 2 hearts with Caroline to give her the greatest chance of being the one to post on the Help Wanted board. I may have a forced introduction with a few of the more pushy locals, but I will be trying my best to avoid these interactions as much as possible. Third in my list of daily tasks is to uncover undesirables. Yes, this wording was a bit of a stretch to fit the U in crush, but essentially, I mean I'm going to open the lid of any trash can I see and sift through the possessions no longer desired by that building's occupants. What we're ultimately looking for are fish tacos from the rubbish bin outside Gus's saloon, a loved gift for Caroline that will earn us 80 friendship points instead of the usual 45 points for gifting a liked item such as daffodils. Plus, I like digging through everyone's trash, and anything we find in a bin that can be eaten or sold is helpful. My penultimate daily do will also involve fish tacos, as we will be checking in on Gus daily to see if he has them in his rotating stock. While I would rather find them in the trash for fiscal reasons, Gus may have them as his daily fare for the relatively reasonable price of 1,000 gold. I won't have those kinds of funds for a few days, but I will be checking in with Gus daily because I'm a bit of a masochist and want to know if I miss out on Taco Tuesday due to funding. And for the final daily task, we have Happy Hunting. These may be challenge runs, but above all else, I want to make sure I'm enjoying the journey, and I hope you do too. The second run started just like any other playthrough, but this time I prayed to the forest gods before customizing my sprite and selecting the forest farm to be more in tune with the green-haired goddess. First thing on the farm, I cleared out some land and chopped down enough trees to build a chest where I left all of my goodies so that my bag would be clear for forageables and seeds. I should mention that on top of crushing our daily dues, we have day-specific goals. My additional goals for day 1 are to plant all the spring seeds needed for the crops bundle, forage as much as possible, and cut down enough trees to reach level 1 foraging. That morning, I headed over to Pierre's shop, timing it so that I would arrive after he opened at 9, but early enough to reach Caroline in the kitchen before she snuck away to her tea room at 10. With my Caroline introduction out of the way, I headed over and bought my usual seeds from Pierre for the spring crops bundle. Next, I rummaged through the rubbish bins before heading back to my farm, taking the long way around through Cindersnap Forest to collect any forageables available. After planting all my purchased seeds, I headed up the northern path to see what forageables were there, looping back around to clear out the free fiber hanging out next to the community center. Then headed home for more fiber farming. We ended the day with 9 mixed seeds, so we should have all the crops we need for both the community center bundle and in case one of those crops pops up as a fetch request from Caroline. I hadn't felled quite enough trees, so I spent the night chopping with the help of some spring onion energy, reaching my goal of level 1 foraging overnight. This is important as we'll want to craft and plant wild spring seeds as soon as possible to have a stash of forageables saved up for tea sapling production. The field snack recipe is also nice to have for a cheap source of energy early game. Day 2, I considered starting this run over as I hadn't found any dandelions day 1 and the spirits were angry for the second day in a row, but I'm really glad I pushed on. Just goes to show that daily luck isn't everything. Fortune teller lady, you can't control me. I headed outside to water my crops and get started on my day 2 goals: crush, fish, funds, and forage. And both fishing and funding require me to pick up the rod from Willie. So I headed on down to the ocean and did some early morning fishing. Funding-wise, I want to have around 1,000 gold on me daily to afford fish tacos from Gus or other loved items from the traveling cart when she graces us with her presence on Friday and Sunday. Speaking of Gus, I stopped in to check his stock and was relieved to see he had ice cream, so I hadn't missed out on Taco Tuesday merely because I'm bad at fishing. That afternoon, I snuck into the aerobics class just as it ended to receive the full 20 points for talking to Caroline today, instead of 10 if she was still in the middle of exercising. I was tempted to gift her the daffodil I picked up yesterday, but decided I'd hold off until Friday and Saturday to give myself more chances to pick up loved gifts. I made my foraging loop around Cindersnap and found the dandelion I'd missed out on yesterday, so now I would be able to make some wild seeds. The main reason I selected the forest farm was the chance for extra forageables, and it was showing off its worth today when I found a horseradish and another dandelion once back on my farm. Late into the night, I did my daily deforestation to ensure wood would not be my weakest link when I could start crafting tea saplings. My profits were low, but I'd fished enough for level 1 fishing, so that's pretty neat, I guess. And now, for day 3, the worst day of this challenge for one reason and one reason only. No, not the crow, Pierre. It's a scripted rain day, so no need to water the crops. Better start on my day 3 goals. Whoops, minor update. There. That's more accurate. Back to Pierre and ruining my day. It's Wednesday, and Pierre not only closes his shop, but he locks up his entire house on Wednesdays. Seriously, even Clint doesn't do that. I'm guessing that Caroline can't leave her home on a rainy day without transforming into her natural forest nymph form, but regardless the reason, she'll stay locked away inside today. We not only miss out on the 20 points for talking to her today, but we actually lose 2 points of friendship with Caroline for missing our daily chat. Thanks again, Pierre. Distraught, I ran around aimlessly for some time while I thought about my best course of action, but ultimately decided to start on my other daily goals and went hunting for forageables, and checked the bulletin board. Oh, there's actually a request up, and it's from Caroline? Thank goodness. If Caroline wants a carp, Caroline gets a carp. But first, I need to check Gus's rubbish bin for nothing. Oh well, let's not be greedy. I headed up to the mountain lake for double fishing duty to catch the carp requested by Caroline and to collect some extra fish for profit. I wouldn't be able to get in to see Caroline today due to Pierre, but I would be sure to head over first thing tomorrow morning as this help wanted request allows 2 days for completion. While fishing, I was given the chance at some copper ore, but decided to pass on a forced introduction with old Clintorino. I checked in with Gus, but no fish tacos today. Then made my way to Willie to sell off my extra fish, making sure to keep Caroline's carp tucked away safely in my pack. Emily nearly caught me fishing a smallmouth bass out of her trash can on my way to a nearly fruitless forage run through Cindersnap Forest. Back on the farm, I tree chopped to exhaustion before calling it for the night. The crows were back on day 4, but so is the sea in my daily dues. My other goals for today stayed the same as yesterday, but I have to admit I was a slacker in the fishing department, per usual. I watered my crops while waiting impatiently to go meet up with Caroline. Next, I took the long way into town to hunt for more opportunistic forage, but was a touch too early to enter the shop, so I checked the cans within eyesight of Pierre's. Then rushed in just as he opened. Caroline got her requested carp, and I received 90 gold and 150 friendship points for my efforts. Not at 1 heart yet, but based on my calculations, we should be at a little over 200 points. I again debated gifting her a daffodil, but decided I would continue to hold off to see what the traveling cart brings to the valley tomorrow. Later, I found my first silver quality liked gift for Caroline. That daffodil would be a contender for gifting over the next couple days. Also, I wonder what Penny thought as she watched the seemingly mute farmer run past with an old newspaper over her head, as I whispered to myself. Get the daffodil. Careful, don't touch her. Don't touch her. With my forage from the morning, I crafted and planted more wild spring seeds and spent the evening clearing up more of my farm before tucking in for an early night. More crows greeted me on day 5. I think that's the most crops I've ever lost before being a high enough farming level to craft the scarecrow. One of the parsnips I picked was silver quality, so it went in the chest as a possible Caroline gift. And then it was time to start on my goals for the day. Today was Friday, so I would be checking the traveling cart, gifting Caroline her first gift of the week, and heading into the mine to progress as far as possible. I brought the silver quality daffodil for Caroline in case I struck out at the traveling cart, but we were in luck as she had a summer spangle in stock for the reasonable price of 270 gold. As I made my way to see Caroline, I checked Gus's trash, then the help wanted board, and
The woman was too stunned to speak.
progressing through the mines today would be even more of a priority as I now had the goal of a quartz to collect for my forest nymph. I hopped in to chat with Caroline and gift her the summer spangle for a combined 100 friendship points, bumping us into one heart territory. That afternoon, I took my first steps into the mine and quickly found the quartz I was searching for on the 3rd floor. I made sure to reach the elevator on floor 5 before heading out to find Caroline reading in the museum. Delivery of the quartz granted another 150 friendship points, so we were within 50 points of 2 hearts. Looking back on it now, if I had gifted Caroline the daffodil I found earlier in the week, we would have been at 2 hearts today. Day 5. But you live and learn. Maybe next time. Since I had the silver quality parsnip available to gift Caroline tomorrow, I grabbed a few of each forageable from a chest to craft and plant more spring seeds. That is when I realized I never triggered the community center cutscene today. So I raced down the path, fully knowing it was too late to trigger the event, but too stubborn not to try. Yep, too late. Feeling a bit disappointed in myself, I headed back into the mines since I still wanted to reach level 20 as early as possible for some relatively convenient fiber farming. I made it to floor 10, grabbed my leather boots, and booted on home, earning level 1 farming and mining overnight. Clint showed up on day 6, and I wasn't too unhappy to see him, as my 2-heart status with Caroline was already locked in. After watering my crops, I triggered the community center cutscene, finally, then headed in to see Caroline the final time in this run for our daily chat and to gift her a parsnip so that we were officially BFFs. As it was a sunny day, I was able to head straight into her tea room, meaning I would receive the tea sapling recipe in the mail tomorrow, day 7. I had created day 6 goals because never in my dreams did I think I would enter the tea room this early in the run, but the only unique goal for today was reaching level 20 in the mines. This was originally to have more access to gems for potential help wanted quests, but also allows for a good floor to fiber farm once the tea sapling recipe is acquired. It was after midnight when I reached my floor goal, so I grabbed my sword upgrade and headed home, only to realize I hadn't read the Junimo scroll today. So I raced over to the community center. I was cutting it really close, but if I failed to read the scroll, I wouldn't trigger the wizard's quest tomorrow and would have to wait another day or so to have access to those extra spring seeds for finishing that first bundle. Thankfully, I made it there with mere moments to spare before passing out for the night. Mail time! I got the letter from Caroline with the recipe for tea saplings on the morning of day 7. Along with the letter from the wizard asking me to join him in his tower. It's a bit ironic that I share a brew with the wizard just a day after sharing one with Caroline, though they do seem like kindred spirits, methinks. So, now the story of how I ended up with sprinklers to cover 40 crops on day 7. Well, I checked the traveling cart as it was on my list of day 7 goals, and I was intrigued by the quality sprinkler she had in stock. I ran to complete the spring forage bundle and picked up my 30 wild seeds, with which I crafted 15 tea saplings. I'd made it a point to hoard fiber and wood from my mining and forage runs, so once my spring forage crops grew, I would be able to craft even more. I sold my 15 tea saplings to Pierre for 7,500 gold, and later a few vegetables for the additional 600 needed to purchase all 5 sprinklers available at the traveling cart. Was this the best use of my tea sapling profits? Maybe. But the important thing to me is that I had the funds to do it. Stardew Valley is such an amazing game, and it allows you to play at your own pace in whatever manner you choose. Lately, I've been interested in doing challenge runs, and these really benefit from early wealth that can be invested into your farm for even greater profits. A snowball effect, if you will. I heard a rumor that version 1.6 might make clay farming obsolete, and I've never been too great at fishing for profits, so the Caroline tea sapling route is the early money making plan that's most appealing to me come 1.6 if the rumors I heard are true. That being said, I really hope Concerned Ape doesn't nerf my green-haired goddess, pretty please. Let me know in the comments what's the earliest you visited Caroline in her lovely little oasis, and I hope you enjoyed seeing the start of this ridiculous run. If you did enjoy the video, remember to leave a like as it really helps out the channel. and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.